Hello everyone, back to you for winter 2020 training forecast from GavsWeatherVids. So what a video we have for you here. It is now time to give you our winter forecast. After 13 winter updates and 3 season weather roundups, we can do no more other than go through the data and then give you our forecast. That's exactly what we're going to do on this video for you right now. And I shall get on with the GavsWeatherVids.com winter 2020 training forecast very, very shortly. I just say, but if you're enjoying the videos of the channel at the moment, please can you click like, make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids as well. And that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. As always, with a long range, so it's going to be quite a long video. So if you can't watch it when you go, then don't worry, it will be kept on winter updates page at GavsWeatherVids.com indefinitely. And there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. I shall get that onto winter updates page with written summary tomorrow morning on Thursday morning. You are probably watching this as a premiere with me on YouTube right now, but on Wednesday evening. But you will be able to watch this on demand at GavsWeatherVids.com, and of course also on the YouTube channel. And that's absolutely great. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. I'm going to say a big thank you to Richard for the fantastic GavsWeatherVids winter forecast gift. So Richard came up with a special gift for our winter forecast. Thank you so much, Richard, for doing that. I'm going to say thank you so much to Shrine for all of Shrine's help with the updates. So thank you so much to Shrine Bruin. Thank you so much to James as well for the solar trackers, and of course thank you to Terry Scoley. You will be seeing in a moment the spreadsheet that Terry has got together for us that shows which years have been the leading years for our winter updates, and then I'll go through the analogs based on those leading years, and then I will give you the forecast. So I've got a little bit to get through before we get to winter forecast. The first thing that I'm going to show you is the final swingometer. So this has become a real fan favourite. Everybody loves the swingometer in this season of winter updates. And we now have the final and complete swingometer from our King of Swing, Richard. From our King of Swing, Richard Traut. So this is how the swingometer looks as of the end of the 13th and final winter 2020 update. So essentially this is the swingometer for all of the GavsWeatherVids winter updates. This is how they have trended through this season of winter updates. You're going to see the swingometer in 1, in 2, in 3, in 4, in 5. And that's it. The swingometer from GavsWeatherVids winter 2020-21 winter updates is still favouring just a slightly colder than average winter. We are suggesting, or the swingometer is suggesting, that we are favouring a colder than average winter by 51% to 49%. That is unchanged. That is unchanged on where it was as of the end of the 12th winter update. So we showed you the swingometer at the beginning of the 13th winter update. You know, for the 12 winter updates, it was at 51.49. After the 13th and final winter update, it still remains at 51.49% to a colder than average winter. And so our winter updates have just very, very narrowly come out favouring a colder winter, or a colder than average winter. So thank you so much to the King of Swing, Richard, for the swingometers throughout this season of winter updates. Of course, with the final swingometer showing you how the winter updates, you know, as a full 13 package, how they have, you know, where the pendulum is. So the pendulum is just into a colder than average winter by 51% to 49%. Right, so let's go over to the spreadsheet then. Thank you so much, Richard, for that. Let's go over to the spreadsheet then, which Terry has compiled for you. So as we've been going through winter updates, Terry Scoley has been keeping track of all of the years based on our methodology. So we have everything in here. We go all the way back to 1836. So, for example, we have summers with a CET of 16.0. We have solar cycle phase. We have October CET. We have ACE, hyperactivity for ACE. We have November, England, Wales, rainfall. Everything. It's just there. And as we go further down, then we start to see things like the QBO, for example, because like biennial oscillation, which of course is a much later phenomena and wasn't being recorded in the 1800s, for example. So I always feel very bad at this point, of course, as you know, because Terry must spend hours and hours and hours sort of compiling this. And I only have time to go over this, like in a few minutes, unfortunately. I just wish I had longer to go through this. It would make like a video in its own terms to go through this and do it justice. But of course, we have to just show you the leading years and then move on and show you the analogs and then show you the forecast. I'll try and explain a little bit though. So for example, we've got 1836 just here. So the winter of 1836 has not been featured. It does not have a single hit. Winter of 1836 has not been featured in our season of winter updates this year. Another one, look, 1839, that has 0 hits again. That one has not been featured. So obviously these years that haven't been featured can be discarded. 1843 has been featured one time. It has 1 hit. And 1846 has been featured 2 times. That has 2 hits. However, that's not enough really to be factored into our winter forecast. You know, it's only been featured once or twice, and so we discard that. What we're looking for is the years that have the greatest number of hits. So, for example, we've got 1870 just here. That one actually has 5 hits. Look at the X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so that we would class as a leading analog year. But not the leading analog year. So what I'm going to do now is just come down through the spreadsheet. So again, I just wish I could do more with this. You know, I never have enough time to show you everything with this. And it must take Terry such a long time to create this. And I only have enough time, you know, to touch on it, really. But there's no other way of doing this, you see. We have to have some means of being able to work out which years are our leading years, and there's no other way of doing it other than on a spreadsheet, really. 1954 is another leading analog year, actually better than 1870 because that has 6 hits. The winter of 1953-1954 has appeared 6 times in this season of winter updates. So that will be a key year for our final analogs for the winter forecast as well. Right, so let's come on down then. Let's come on down and see which years have been the leading years. So these are the years then. With 5 hits, we have 2019, 2020, 2017, 2018, 2016, 2017, 2013, 2014, 2010, 2011, 2005, 2006, 1995, 1996, 1964, 1965, and 1870, 1871. With 6 hits, even better, we have 2008, 2009, we have 1999, 2000, we have 1964, 1965, and then the leading year for this year's winter updates, which has appeared 9 times, which is a very large amount of times to be appearing in this season of winter updates. It's appeared 9 times. It is 2004, 2005. 0405 has appeared 9 times during this season of winter updates. So they are our leading analog years as compiled by the amazing and the fabulous Terry Scolding. So just here we can see next to those years we can see how all of them came out in terms of temperature. So for example, 2004, 2005 looks like that. So it was generally quite a mildish sort of winter, although it did get colder later on. 1954, 1955 gets much colder after a mild December into January and February, for example. 1870, 1871 is quite cold early on and then gets milder later. 2013, 2014 is just mild throughout, very, very mild. Throughout, of course. And this column just here shows whether these winter months for these leading analog years were like drier or wetter than average. So of course we've got 2013, 2014 here, which was an exceptionally wet winter, but conversely we have 2004, 2005, which was a relatively dry winter. So thank you so much to Terry. Terry is like a guiding light, really. You know, Terry sort of has a helpful hand on my shoulder and sort of guides me through all of this. So thank you so much to Terry. Terry has a huge amount of knowledge and experience, and he's the best in the business, really, when it comes to long-range forecast. I describe him as like the long-range forecaster's forecaster. So thank you so much to Terry for compiling this for us, and I just wish I had longer to show you all of the amount of work that Terry must have to put into this. But Terry knows how much I think of him, how much I rate him as a forecaster and as a long range forecasting genius. Really, you know, and Terry, as I say, has that hand on my shoulder. I can feel it, you know, guiding me through all of this and helping me when I need it. So thank you so much to Terry Scolding for all of the help and all of the support. Right, so shall we do this then? Let's start looking at the analogs based on those leading analog years from our winter updates. So this is how all Decembers combined are coming out, scoring 5 or more. So basically this is the full set. This is the full set from like 0405 right way down to 2019-20, from 9 hits down to the last of the 5 hits. This is everything. This is how the full package looks, scoring 5 or more. This is how all Decembers combined are looking, scoring 5 or more. So we tend to favour a mid-Atlantic ridge with these years in December. Higher pressure in the Atlantic, lower pressure is to our east and northeast. Our winds, therefore, are tending to be favoured to come in from like a northwesterly type direction. So there's some cold potential in the Decembers with our leading years scoring 5 or more. There is cold potential in with that. This is how all Januaries combined are looking with our leading years scoring 5 or more. And you can see that we increase the cold signal perhaps for January, as it looks like we're getting higher pressure to our east and northeast and also to our west and northwest. We have lower pressure to our south. It looks like the jet stream is pushed south as well, and we are probably going to be bringing in like a bit of an easterly type flow in those Januaries. So relatively dry, you would have thought, but possibly quite cold. And in fact, December looks relatively dry as well, I have to say, with these leading years scoring 5 or more. February looks a little bit more unsettled. We have got still something of a northern blocking signal though, so it does look as though these years together, scoring 5 or more, are probably favouring a colder than average winter, really, with higher pressure within the northern latitudes and lower pressure like to our south and east, and we could be bringing in winds from the east quite a bit during those Februaries. So all 3 winter months look like they have colder some cold potential there with our year scoring 5 or more. And then all February's combined, all March's combined, I should say, still looking quite cold with higher pressure in the North Atlantic up towards Ice of Green. Lower pressure is down here. The jet stream is pushed southwards as well. And we may be pulling in some cold air from the north and from the northeast. So potentially the Marches could be signaling quite a cold start to the spring as well, with our leading year scoring 5 or more. All winters combined with our leading years scoring 5 or more look like this. So we tend to get lower pressure to the south. We tend to get some higher pressure up to the north. And yes, you could envisage that these winters could be on the colder side. Actually, they could be on the colder side. Right, so I'm going to pause the video there, and we're just going to stretch your legs for a moment, and then we'll come back and we'll go through our leading years scoring 6 or more. Then I'll show you the data for 2004, 2005, and then in the final analysis, I'll give you the GavsWeatherVids.com winter 2020-21 forecast. But you're going to stretch your legs, and I'll see you in around 2 seconds' time. See you soon. Okay, we're back. We're going to resume the GavsWeatherVids.com winter 2020-21 forecast. If you enjoyed this video, then please can you click like, let us know in the comments what you think, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel. It'd be absolutely fantastic if you can all do that. Right, so before the break, we was going through our leading analog years, scoring 5 or more with our winter updates. We're now going to start narrowing things down, though, and we're going to start including temperature and precipitation data as well for these leading years. So now we're narrowing things down to those years that score 6 or more. This is how all Decembers combined are looking with our leading analog years scoring 6 or more. So we've excluded those earlier ones, scoring 5 or more. So this just brings us out with 4 leading years: 2004, 1954, or 2004, 2005, 1954, 1955, 1999, 2000, and 2008, 2009. So this is how all Decembers combined are looking. So we tend to get low pressure to our north and northeast. We tend to get high pressure out in the middle of the North Atlantic. And we tend to be sending a jet stream onto a northwest-southeast alignment like that. So there is potential for wintry weather during these Decembers. It is like Atlantic driven. But it looks like we're sending the jet stream on the northwest-southeast alignment. And so at the very least, there would be the potential for cold snaps, if not cold interludes, during these Decembers. All Januaries combined with our leading analog year scoring 6 or more look like that. So a mid-Atlantic ridge towards the south of Greenland. Lower pressure tending to be to our south and east. And winds probably coming in from the north as well. Bear in mind, there is a very mild January in there, which is 2000. And also 2005 was quite mild too, especially in the first half. But we have 2 colder Januaries in 1955 and 2009. So we're on all February's. There we go. This is how all February's combined are looking with our leading analog year scoring 6 or more. Tending to have high pressure in the North Atlantic and going up towards Greenland. Low pressure tends to be across many central and western parts of Europe. We tend to be bringing in a wind from like a northeasterly direction. And those Februaries probably favouring being the coldest of the 3 winter months, actually. So, of course, we got 2005, which got very cold during February. We have 1955, which was a very cold February. We have 2000, which was a very mild February. And we have 2009, which was a cold to very cold February as well, especially in the first half of February 2009. So, overall, I think we say that, yeah, definitely definitely we are favouring a cold February with our leading analog year scoring 6 or more. 2000's a rather strange one anyway, because that's around solar maximum. So I wouldn't rate, you know, the way we rate which years we take most seriously is like in the weighting, and I wouldn't weight 2000 as high as, for example, 2009 and probably 1955, which are occurring with lower levels of solar activity either. Right, so all Marches combined look like this, with our leading analog year scoring 6 or more. So we tend to get lower pressure to the south, we tend to get higher pressure up to the north and to the northwest. Winds tend to be coming in like an east or northeasterly direction with the Marches, so they could be quite cold at times as well. And all winters combined. Sorry, I've got ahead of myself. All winters combined with our lean analog year scoring 6 or more tend to have higher pressure to the west, lower pressure tends to be the east. Winds tend to be coming in from like a northerly to northwesterly direction. And so those winters, yes, I think we can say that our lean analog year scoring 6 or more do favour like a colder winter quite a lot of the time, albeit there is only 4 of them. So temperature anomalies look like that for these winters. Generally a mild winter favoured for northern and eastern parts of Europe. It looks like the west of Europe is probably cooler or colder a lot of the time. So, of course, if one part of Europe is doing one thing, another part of Europe will tend to do another thing. So milder on the eastern side of Europe, colder perhaps on the western side of Europe, with our leading analog years scoring 6 or more. Precipitation-wise, we look like that. So actually quite unsettled, which probably been skewed a little bit by 1999-2000, I would have thought. I would have thought these other 3 tend to be a little bit drier, probably. It is significantly drier out to our west in the Atlantic, though, you'll notice, which is rather strange, rather different for that to happen. Overall, close to average or slightly wetter than average, really being signalled there, with our leading analog years scoring 6 or more. And then lastly, just to show you like the leading analog year for our winter updates, which was 2004-2005. So we'll just go through that. Remember, 2004-2005 has 9 hits. So it's a big player with this season of winter updates. Although you will never get complete like-for-like match with forecasts, with long-range forecasts. You'll never get a like-for-like match, but it is a bit of a guide, I suppose, if it's turned up 9 times. This is how all December's combined looking. Now, this is how December 2004 looks, sorry, for the winter 2004-2005. So this is a mild December, really, with low pressure to the north, high pressure over and to the south of the country. And it does have a cold Christmas, though. Christmas 2004 was quite cold, and there was quite a bit of snow in the north. But overall, that is a relatively mild and dryish sort of December. January 2005 looks like that. So again, quite mild for much of the time. High pressure to west, southwest, low pressure through here. Does have a little bit of higher pressure in the extreme northeast of Europe and into the northwestern parts of Russia. So with this one, generally bringing wind from the Atlantic. The first half of January 2005 is exceptionally mild. The second half does get cold, and particularly in the last week of January 2005, there is a rather cold and wintry spell of weather. February 2005 gets much more interesting from a cold perspective as we start to set up some blocking. We have high pressure in the North Atlantic, and it does extend to our east and northeast as well. We have lower pressure to the south, and we are often bringing in the wind from an easterly direction in those Februaries. So it could be cold and wintry with these Februaries, with winds in from the east, or in February 2005. Remember, with February 2005, the early part of the month is relatively mild, and then it gets colder as it progresses, and there is quite a prolonged cold and snowy spell in like the last week, 10 days of February 2005. Winter, March 2005, I should say, looks like that. So again, we tend to have high pressure to the north in March 2005, blocking around Greenland, Iceland, winds in from an easterly direction. The first half of March 2005 is cold and wintry. The second half gets much milder. And then winter 2004-2005 looks like that, with high pressure out to our west, low pressure to our northeast and to our south, winds often coming in from a northerly direction. So, it's winter of two halves. The first half is relatively mild, second half gets a lot colder, particularly so particularly from late January onwards, but primarily from the second half of February through to that early part of March period. Temperature anomalies winter 2004-2005 look like this, so not too far from average, which is a bit surprising given that the first half winter is quite mild, but then it does get a lot colder later on. And the precipitation anomaly, it is quite a dry winter as well for many western parts of Europe, certainly favouring the drier than average side for the winter of 2004-2005. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how our leading analogue year scoring 5 or more, 6 or more, and B leading analogue year scoring 9 hits looks in terms of this season of winter updates. And so now, I suppose, the last thing left to do is to give you the GavsWeatherVids.com winter 2004-2000, and I'm sorry, it's been a very, very long day when I'm recording this. I'm on my last legs, really, recording this. So I suppose the last thing that's left to do, let's do it again. I suppose the last thing that is left to do is to give you the GavsWeatherVids.com winter 2020-2021 forecast. And I think the headline really is that we are going for a slightly colder than average winter in line with winter updates. So yes, we are forecasting that temperatures for this winter are likely to be average to very slightly below average for the winter of 2021. We are saying that we are likely to come out around average to like half a degree below the 81 to 2010 average for the central England region. There will be a north-south split with this, though, I think. So Scotland could well come out like a degree. Cold average southern England might come out with a slightly milder than average, which in the CT zone we imagine is going to be like very close to average or just a little bit below. Probably. So that's like the headline with this. But what's going to happen, we think, with this winter is that we're going to have a relatively coldish December. So we're expecting quite a chilly December, probably the coldest December since around 2010. So it might be the coldest December for a decade. We think there's going to be quite appreciable levels of like North Atlantic and possibly at times even high latitude blocking going up towards Christmas. We think there's probably going to be an increased chance of a colder Christmas issue due to the overall colder December. So, but of course that's very hard to pin down because we might get one very mild day on Christmas Day that scuppers it. But compared to like climatology, compared to average, we think that this Christmas has a better chance of being colder than in more recent years. And that's about as much as we can say about Christmas. But we think that as we get towards the new year, we're probably going to see a change and a move away from this cold and blocked weather. So I've got a feeling that the new year is going to be a critical period for this winter. So what we're expecting to happen is that after we have relatively cold conditions through December and up to the holiday period, we probably see the Atlantic coming back, we probably revert back to westerlies, and we go into what could be quite a protracted, milder period as we go into January. It's possible that the blocking that we have in December and the cold weather that we have in December will lock in around the Christmas and New Year period. And if that was to happen, then we will find ourselves potentially going into a very cold and snowy winter. But we are not expecting that. And the reason we're not expecting that is because we have not had a teaser before. So usually, not always though, so we can't be absolutely sure about this, but usually before you have a very cold winter, you will get a teaser winter before it. We have not had that. Last winter was very mild, winter before that was very mild. We have to go back 2017, 2018 for our last sort of coldish winter. And with two very mild winters in between, we can't say that that was a teaser winter. So it's most likely that this perhaps is the teaser winter. 2020, 2021 could be the teaser winter for a very big winter next year. But you don't always get a teaser winter before a very cold winter. That's why we're not completely certain. But we think that the most probable scenario will be that after a relatively coldish and quite wintry at times December, but with some milder interludes as well, even in December. But after that, we will get to the new year and we will find the Atlantic ramping up. We'll find the blocking sort of going away, and we'll revert back to kind of like an Atlantic-driven and potentially quite stormy pattern, actually, and quite wet pattern in January. We will probably, we think, find our way back to colder weather later in the winter, though. So we could go through quite a protracted period of milder Atlantic-driven weather through January. That could last even into February. Eventually, we think we're going to find our way back to a colder situation later on into February. Very much in line, of course, with what happened in 2004, 2005. So we think it's likely we will go back to something colder later on in winter, and it could be that's the coldest period of the winter, although December, you know, is going to be a relatively chilly winter with quite a bit of cold weather and wintry conditions. It could actually be later into February, but it gets really potentially very cold actually for a while anyway, and potentially rather snowy as well during the latter part of the winter. And I say, if it comes off as we're expecting, then this would be classed as a teaser winter, which sets things up potentially to be really, really interesting for the winter of 2021, 2022, but I shall say no more about that at this stage. Precipitation wise, so we're expecting around average, I think, in terms of precipitation. We think December will probably be rather drier due to the fact that it's rather colder than average. January could be quite wet though, quite wet and stormy, and that might last into early February as well, and then back to drier and colder weather later on into February later on in the winter. So averaging all that, we probably come out quite close to average for precipitation. We are not expecting like the sort of deluge that we had last winter, so hopefully we will not have the deluge that we had last winter. And yeah, very much a seesaw winter, very much a teasing winter with cold coming and going, and even in January, like there could be quite a pronounced cold spell even in January, although the month overall is probably quite mild. I wouldn't be all that surprised if like the blocking from December did sort of return briefly perhaps, but did return at some point during January. But I think generally that middle part of winter, we're expecting it to be relatively mild. It's early and late with the cold during this winter, but there is that low risk, that low possibility that actually the cold weather that's getting going during December will not fade out and will actually strengthen into January. I would rate that probably at around a 10-20% chance, but it is there. It is a possibility that might happen. If it did, then this winter would turn out to be a very cold winter. But I'm not going to go for that, because we have not had the teaser that I look for before a very cold winter, you know, like we had in 08-09 before 2009, 2010, for example. In terms of snow, I think probably going to have quite close to average snow. So actually, compared to like recent years, it'll probably seem like quite a snowy winter, and particularly for more northern areas actually, because a lot of these colder winters are going to be northerly based, I think. So for the north of Scotland, you'll probably think you're having a very snowy winter, but bear in mind, it's going to be the fact that we barely had any snow last winter or the winter before that. And even like 2017-18, it wasn't particularly snowy, not compared to average, I don't think. So it will probably seem like it's quite a snowy-ish winter, but I would suspect it's actually going to be closer to average. And of course, if the cold was to lock in January, then we would come away with an appreciably snowy winter, but I don't think that is what is going to happen. Very interesting winter. There's going to be a lot to keep an eye on. And as I say, December is favouring like being quite a coldish month. And I think there will be snow during this December. There may even be cold weather around Christmas. So that is going to be like the first thing to focus on. We'll be keeping us on our toes, I think, through December. And then, of course, we're looking out for whether the cold does fade out around the new year, or whether the cold strengthens and intensifies around the new year. I think that's quite a critical period. Right, so that's the best I can do for you. So all I'm going to leave you with is a little summary in a moment at the end of this video. I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for following our winter updates. It's been an incredible season of winter updates this year. I hope you have all enjoyed them. And yeah, I think it's been like the best season winter updates that we've done. And I hope you've enjoyed them, enjoyed sharing these winter updates with them, and enjoyed watching them as much as I have enjoyed doing them. Thank you so much to Richard Traut. Thank you so much to Terry Scully. Thank you so much to Shryan Bruin and to James Acquiel for all of the help with these winter updates and with the winter forecast as well. And we're going to take a little break now from long range stuff. Of course, we're going to carry on doing normal videos. You know, they won't be stopping. I'll be carrying on with them right through December. For the longer range stuff, I'm going to take a little break through December, as we always do, just to get our breath back after and get our energy levels back after what's been a very long season of updates. So then in January, we will begin like spring updates. They'll be starting in January for spring 2021. Right, so I'm going to get rid of the camera now. I'm going to leave you with a little written summary, and that will be the last thing that you see, and then I shall end the forecast. Thank you so much, everybody, for this being with me on this forecast and during the season of winter updates. And yeah, I shall say bye for now, but I'm going to leave you with that little written summary. So I'll be disappearing. But thank you so much, everybody. And of course, we'll see you very, very soon.